So you're an impatient beginner who wants to learn how to read patterns. I got you. Hi everyone, I'm Angelina and this is Blueprint DIY, where we remake our clothes to be just as unique as us. Today I am coming by really quick to show you guys how to read patterns. The no BS, no fluff way. Very direct. Let's do it. In my book, The Impatient Beginner's Guide to Sewing, there's a chapter about how to measure yourself and a video to go with it. You should have already done this part, going ahead and measuring yourself. Not every measurement applies to every pattern, but we'll talk about how these measurements apply to your pattern. So go ahead and watch that and then come back to this video if you haven't done that already. All right, so we're in chapter 6, how to read a pattern. And I'm going to use this McCall's pattern that I use for my class because we make the shorts and the t-shirt in class. When you go to buy a pattern, the first thing you'll notice is the pattern number. It's right here. You'll see it in several places. The M is for McCall. This S is for simplicity. And then there's a number. And when you're at the fabric store, you'll go into the drawer and find the number. They also have catalog books that you can look at to find patterns. And in the book, I have a whole host of other places that you can go to find patterns as well. So let's talk about how to read this pattern. So I'm going to look for whatever I'm trying to make. So if I'm trying to make shorts in this case, I'm going to look for C. C is the shorts. C is the shorts. They all have a letter. So the t-shirt dress is B. The t-shirt is A. The shorts is C. The first thing you're going to look at, that I always look at because you can't buy the pattern without this, is the measurements. And so on this one here, you'll see the measurements are down here. You can do it from the back, but I like the little flap. This has body measurements, and it's not shown here on the book, but on a lot of patterns, you'll have the body measurements so that you can choose your size on the flap. And so let's see, my waist is 32. Gosh, dog. When you go to get a pattern, take everything you know about your retail size and throw it out the window. It does not matter when you are buying patterns. Your size on your patterns is most likely going to be bigger than your retail size. So it's like going in a sneaker shop and going as a woman buying men's sneakers. You're going to buy a different size. In that case, your size is going to be smaller. But in this case, most likely your size will be bigger. So don't be offended. It is a different metric. It is what it is. All right, so that's right around a 12, 14, but a little bit higher. So on the t-shirt, then maybe I could do the 12, 14. But when we talk about waist, my waist is 32. We're up here in the large. We're up here in a size large. And then in hips, once again, I will be a size large. So in the shorts, then I'm going to make the pattern that is the large, the 16, 18. But you also want to go and look at the final finished garment measurements. It's going to tell you the dimensions of the finished garment. So when I look at the hip on the 16, 18, the finished hip is 48 and a half. My hip is 42, so that'll give me room in my hips. If I do want these shorts to be fitted, then that means I need to go down to a size 8-10 or maybe a 12-14. It's all about how you want it to fit. So you have to compare the finished garment measurements to the body measurements. So this pattern was meant to fit loose. You can tell by the difference between the body measurements and the finished garment measurements. So let's say I was doing the t-shirt A. I would go to the finished bust of the one I want. It's 49 and a half. Now, my bust is only 32. So that's like way big on me. So I think I would once again go down to the small 8-10 for a nice loose fit t-shirt, right? Yeah, 30. No, bust was 36.5. So yeah, I may go down to a size 8-10 for a little bit of a loose fit t-shirt. If I wanted an oversized t-shirt, then I could do that size 16, 18. So you do have to compare those two measurements to decide what pattern you want what size pattern you want to get. And once you find a pattern that does include your size, then you can go ahead and purchase that pattern. Some other things that are notable on patterns is also you can see up here the suggested fabrics. The suggested fabrics for this one is cotton flannel, cotton knits, and cotton blends. In the book, it's cotton blends, double glazed gingham. So it'll give you a bunch of different fabrics that were intended for this pattern. It doesn't mean that you have to stick to those fabrics, but keep that in mind when you are making the pattern, because you might have to adjust. Say, for instance, I wanted to do this out of denim. I definitely will remember that this pattern was made for a stretchy material, or like a cotton. I guess I could do denim because denim is just cotton, but it's not a cotton knit. It's a cotton. It would be more like a cotton flannel, non-stretchy. So technically I could do that. Also, you can see under notions, it'll tell you what other things you'll need. So for this pattern, for the shorts, C and D, you're going to need elastic, and it tells you about how much. And lastly, it also tells you the amount of yards that you're going to need, so that you'll know when you're at the fabric store. So if I were going to buy the large 16-18 and I wanted to make the shorts, so C and D, this pattern does include shorts and pants. So you can see shorts, C, pants. I want to make shorts. So how many yards you buy depends on the width of the fabric first. So if it's 45 inches, you'll probably need more than if it's 60 inches. So if I have a shorter boat, 45, I'm going to get a yard and a half. If I have a longer boat, a yard and a half. So either way, they recommend a yard and a half. So that's how much I would tell the lady to cut. So when you're at the fabric store, you can get everything that you need in order to complete this project. It's definitely going to take you a little bit of practice as far as the sizing and everything is concerned, but I know that you guys can do it. Just make sure you're focused on the letter, like which design you're trying to make, and look at the measurements and everything for that. One thing I do like about patterns as they go forward is that you can see this little level 1 learn to sew right here. That is because this pattern is specifically geared towards, or it is a beginner pattern. So if you are a beginner, definitely look at that. And this is part of my Impatient Beginner series. I just wrote a book. It is called The Impatient Beginner's Guide to Sewing, and it takes you through all of these things: how to measure yourself, how to read patterns, and it includes QR codes to videos like these. So I am making this video to go as part of my book. It goes from all the way how to set up your sewing machine, what type of sewing machines are best for beginners, and it even has at the back of the book some little cutouts or tear outs that you can use in order to sew. I am thinking about putting it on Amazon as well. It may not have the cutouts at the back. It may just have a link to them so that you can print them out. It comes out this weekend, and you will, as soon as it comes out, you will be able to purchase it directly from here, and see links in the description box below. Definitely let me know in the comments if there are other beginner tutorials that you want to see me do. And on this channel, we do all the way from beginner, even no-sew, upcycle projects, all the way up to the most amazing epic upcycles you've ever seen. So definitely stay tuned to see what we do next. And don't forget to check for my book, The Impatient Beginner's Guide to Sewing. Even if you do not need it, someone you know probably does. So definitely check that out. And I will see you in the next one. All right, bye.